photographer's mad. He wants to leave. He wants to deck him, I'm like, hey, calm down, dude. We're almost done here. I want to get paid. I go to him. I go, listen, dude, I want to get paid tonight. Don't screw this up. Please, don't screw this up. What's good, guys? This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. What I'm about to share with you is not for the faint of heart. I'm going to tell you a story, a true story. Being a wedding photographer, this is probably the most amazing, in a bad way, stories I will never forget. And today, in this video, I'm going to share it with you all. This was around the time the Nikon D5 just launched. About a month or two after. My friend just got it. He was excited. Nikon D5. I didn't have one. He just bought the D5. He was my second photographer for a wedding. Now the story begins on the booking day. Have you guys photographers out there ever booked a gig, a job, an event, a wedding, where you knew the audience, you knew the crowd, you knew that you kind of didn't want to take the gig because you knew the crowd and there'd be some issues there, it just didn't feel right, but you took the gig anyway? Well, this happened to me. I booked a wedding. I knew the crowd. I've done work for them before. I knew their relatives. I knew what might develop during a party, during a reception. Now, if you've been shooting weddings long enough, you've come across incidents at receptions. There's alcohol involved. There's, different types of crowd. Relatives don't talk to each other. Arguments. Have you ever planned a wedding where relatives, again, don't speak with each other and they don't want to be seen, on the same table? You sit me on this side, don't sit me here. I don't want to be, close to this person, that person. I guess family politics that you need to work out, issues, hurdles that you as a wedding planner, bride and groom, whoever's organizing the tables for the reception, you guys have to kind of, swing through some hoops to get everybody seated properly, to avoid issues. Beside the point, I knew the crowd. I knew that every time I would photograph these people, the relatives, there would be some kind of issue. Aggressive, there's alcohol, like I said, involved. People fight, argue, this and that. Anyway, I took the gig, and my second photographer, he's the photographer that, he's a loudmouth. He takes no BS from nobody, kind of like me, but 10 times. So he just bought the D5, all excited, so we shoot this gig. Everything is great up until the reception, up until the party starts. People are drinking, dancing, the loud music. I'm taking my pictures. He's taking his pictures. Everything's going great, right? And I'm thinking, okay, this is my first job for these people that we're going home without seeing any kind of issue where there's fights or arguments or this and that. So what happens next, really, I hate to say this and I hate to tell this story, but I have to. Anything for you guys to avoid this type of situation. What happens next? Sure enough, a fight. But this time, even worse, it involves my second photographer. So I'm taking pictures. I'm seeing my second shooter getting into it with a guest and a crowd of people. The ballroom is huge, and he's getting into it. And I'm seeing this from across the room through people dancing, that they're getting in each other's faces. Crowd of people there. And all of a sudden, it gets worse. It gets worse. I'm thinking maybe it's a friend. I don't really see what's going on. But then a crowd of people starts to gather in that corner there. So I'm like, oh man, here we go. This is not happening to me. I walk on over and I just, make my way through the crowd. I say, hey, man, what's going on? What's going on here, And it's heated, They're getting in each other's faces. Well, I told you not to take a picture of my girlfriend. You took a picture of my girlfriend. I want you to delete that picture right now. Stop taking pictures of my girlfriend. As photographers, we take pictures of all the guests, right? It could be your girlfriend, it could be your wife, it could be your mistress, it could be your, guma, whoever, guys, gals, kids. We take it out. We want the bride and groom to have a complete, we want the bride and groom to have the day completely captured. So we take random shots, and as a photographer, my second photographer, like I said, he's a character. He is a character. He appreciates beautiful women too. He takes pictures of them. Sometimes he goes over the top and kind of tells them to pose a certain way. He likes it. He's a guy. What are you gonna do, right? Anyway, so this is roughly around 10:30, 11 o'clock, where the party's been going on for a couple of hours now. People have been drinking. Some people, when they drink, they get violent. Some people, when they drink, they get silly, laughing. Some people pass out. Which one are you? Anyway, so, the guests are drunk. The girl's boyfriend is drunk, one of those aggressive types. I know how to deal with these people. When aggressive type comes to me and starts hit their crap, I know how to de-escalate the situation. I've been around a lot of people, so I'm a people's person. I tell a joke, I de-escalate. I pat him on the back, say, you know what, don't worry about it, everything's fine. I know how to de-escalate situations. I know how to deal with drunks. I know how to deal with vulgar, rude, aggressive type of people. I know. But my second guy, young dude, he hasn't been in this situation. It's not funny, I know. He hasn't been in this situation, for a long time. So he really, if somebody comes to him with that type of tone, that type of attitude, laying his hands on him, he'd fight back. This guy is trained. He takes karate and in boxing, and he's buff. He's trained. He's toned up. My second photographer. He don't take no crap from. I don't care who this person is. He don't care. Side story here. One time, this photographer, somebody told him something, that he didn't like. Instead of, calming the situation down, he's the type of guy where he just got up and just left. He left. He said, you know what? Screw this gig. I don't need this. I don't need this treatment. I don't want to punch this guy out. I don't want problems. So he just got up and left the gig. That type of person we're dealing here. So I'm get there, right? So I get there. I try to de-escalate the situation. Hey, what's going on? Relax, guys. We're here. Have a good time. No fights here. And I'm trying to talk to the drunk guest, the boyfriend of the girl that he's supposedly taking all these pictures of. The boyfriend didn't like it. I'm trying to calm him down. And I kind of know him through friends. I go, listen, dude, this is a wedding. Don't ruin it for the bride and groom. Just let it go. I'll handle it. I'll talk to the photographer. In the back of my mind, I'm like, he didn't do anything. He just took a few shots. The guy's drunk. He thought he was looking at his girlfriend, giving her the eye. And things escalate. So I'm calming him down, right? Calming him down. And I see on the side, my photographer's mad. He wants to leave. He wants to deck him, I'm like, hey, calm down, dude. We're almost done here. I want to get paid. I go to him. I go, listen, dude, I want to get paid tonight. Don't screw this up. Please, don't screw this up. I didn't work 8-10 hours just to go home without a paycheck, okay? And I don't want people getting hurt. I don't want no problems here. Just chill, okay? Just chill. The bride and groom come on over, and this is where you kind of don't want to ruin their day, their night. You know, they pay all this money, they get dressed up, they're getting married. They don't want to remember their event and remember there being fights, especially with the photographers. Who are they going to blame? Are they going to blame the drunk dude, or are they going to blame the photographers? That photographer did this, that. You know how it goes, right? So I get back to the crowd. I get back to the drunk guest. I go, dude, just chill. You know what I mean? And he starts talking to me. He starts yelling. Hey, what do you mean chill? And this guy's drunk. What do you mean chill? What do you mean chill? I'm not going to chill. I want this guy. I want him to leave. I don't want to see his face or else I'm going to bust it. I'm like, listen, dude, you're not going to bust no one's face. And I even pulled out the karate card. I'm like, this guy's a trained martial artist. What? And this guy, his reaction was, I don't give a, cussing at it, cussing at me, cussing at him, pointing fingers. So in my culture, you do not cuss someone's mom out. If you cuss someone's mom out, done. It's a done deal. It doesn't matter who you are, you're done. You're done with, no matter the repercussions, right? So in my culture, sure enough, the drunk guest starts swearing, pointing his finger at my photographer and saying, cusses to his mom, like F his, mother, like that, right? This guy hears that and it's on. I mean, it's on. Like I said, if you cuss someone's mother out in my culture, in my race, you better watch out, right? So that's the ultimate insult that anybody could, lay on you in my culture where I'm from. This guy hears that, he sees him pointing the finger and saying, F his mother, I'm gonna get him, this and that. I see this guy, I'm like, oh no, it's over. I'm already thinking about choosing professions, like changing professions at this time. I'm thinking lawsuits. I'm thinking the worst of the worst. Sure enough, this guy clubs the drunk guest from behind with his Nikon D5, squat right in the head as hard as he can. And this guy's pretty strong, my photographer, right? You ever seen those movies where it's in slow motion? I just saw him coming and I knew there was nothing I can do. This guy's just going to get him. There's nothing I can do. It happened so fast, but yet so in slow motion. So this guy hits him across the head with his camera and you lose it. He lost it. He later on, he told me that he just saw black. He didn't know what he was doing. He could have punched him. He could have choked him. He could have hurt him. He just smacked him right across the head with his camera. And it was on. It was over. Everybody was just on top of each other. Blood everywhere. I've never seen blood on a wedding, the bride's dress. And people throwing stuff. It was just crazy. And it was just something that I can never forget. It's a learning experience, guys. I was just worried about, okay, what's going to happen next? Sure enough, police come in. The party was ruined. I tried to stop everything. What can you do when things escalate to a point where you got to pray for the best, I guess. It was bad. So blood everywhere, people getting involved, police come in. After that event, I think the banquet hall hired security guards because of the incident. They should always have security guards there. Why am I there trying to stop something? I'm just a photographer. I don't want to get in the middle of this. So after that, everybody starts fighting. The police come in, and I try to separate everybody. And then, I don't throw any fists. I'm just trying to hold people back. I'm trying to hold my friend back. This guy's on the floor bleeding. His relatives get involved. It was just a big mess. The video crew gets involved. The DJ gets involved, backing us up, right? Of course, we're a team. Video guys, there are about 4 of them. I just don't want anybody to go through this. This is why I'm sharing this story, guys. It was ugly. It was bloody. It just turned out, the party was done. It turned out bad for all parties involved. The reception was over with. It ended. And, what can you do but to just, settle down and see what happens after? So I'm thinking lawsuits. I'm thinking what's going to happen with the photos. I'm thinking the bride and groom, what's their reaction going to be? I don't want them coming back and blaming me, because it was involving the second photographer and the drunk guest. But ultimately, I had nothing to do with this, right? So, but they look at me as a leader of that crew, and ultimately, I might take responsibility for this. Who knows? So anyway, the party was done, and we tried to, we cleaned up. We got the equipment, we put it away, and we just left. And the next day, I called the groom. I go, hey, man, I want to apologize. This was, this could have been avoided. It's not fully my photographer's fault. I know that he was out of line with what he did. I take full responsibility. And you don't have to worry about, I'm already thinking about crediting him, like giving him his money back. And just because my second photographer was involved, and I don't want no lawsuit. I don't want my friend to, I don't want nothing to happen to my friend. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have got his Nikon D5 and busted it on the guy's head. Not to make jokes about the situation, the story, but that camera's a beast. If you ever need to defend yourself, somebody cusses out your family, you know what to do. But the Nikon D5, can't believe I'm even talking about a camera, but I apologized. I said, I'm sorry, should never have gone to this. I went, I tried to, you saw me. I told the groom, you saw me. You saw I was trying to de-escalate everything. You saw I was trying to stop stuff. He turns it on and tells me, you are right. This guest was, drunk, and he started it. Whatever happened after, he, like I said, in my culture, you don't do that. You don't cuss out someone's mother. Honestly. And he understood that. And I told him, look, thank you for understanding. I go, sure. He tells me, the groom, next day, he tells me, sure. He goes, if somebody said that about my mother, done deal. Nobody does that. So he understood. He took the side of our side, and he said, don't worry. Hey, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't get to pay you. How much do I owe you? I go, no, don't worry about it. I really felt bad because the party stopped because of us, not because of us, but we were involved. And also I didn't want any, repercussions from a lawsuit, camera, this, that, from my photographer, my second shooter. So I said, don't worry, don't even worry about it. I'll edit the photos, I'll send them to you. Again, I apologize. This is never should have happened. And by the way, I told him my photographer was not taking pictures. He was just taking pictures of the crowd. Your guest was drunk, your relative or whoever he was, and he thought that my photographer was, eyeing his girlfriend, and things like this happen. I totally understand. He tells me, you don't even have to explain it. He sends me the money. I told him you don't have to, really. But he did. He sent me the money. He goes, what happened? You shouldn't have to suffer for this. I'll deal with my guest, my friend, my relative. I'll take care of that. And by the way, if you're worried about any type of, legal matter here, you don't have to worry about that either. I go, are you sure about that? He goes, yeah. Don't worry about it. This is not his first fight. This is not the first time he's gotten knocked out. It always happens with him. He's just a troublemaker, basically. This guy is just a black sheep, troublemaker, always causes fights. For him, it's just a regular day at a party. There's people like that. They get into fights. What can you do? That they look for that attention. It gets them. They just like it. Anyway, all's well ends well. There was nothing illegal that came out of this, and also the bride and groom understood. And luckily, it was towards kind of the end of the night. So, I kind of felt bad that the party just kind of died, but it was almost, the end of the night. So that's good. So lesson here, guys, just don't get involved. No matter if you're a black belt champion boxer, the toughest guy around, if you're a tough guy, a photographer that don't take no crap from nobody, we understand that. We understand that you can really raise some hell, but don't ruin somebody else's night. No matter whose fault it is, try to kind of just de-escalate it and just move on. Crack a joke. Say, you know what? I'm sorry, Even though you don't mean the sorry and the guest is at fault, try to de-escalate it as much as you can and just move on, guys. Lesson of the story, lesson here, don't cause a scene no matter what. I mean, if somebody comes and just punches you in the face, of course you got to defend yourself. And you have a Nikon D5, just, Now, if somebody tries to hurt you, physically, and of course you have to defend yourself. Of course, I understand. But words, disagreements, things like that, things of that nature, you can de-escalate it and you can move on. Understand that these people are impaired. Understand that these people are drunk. They're not thinking rationally, so, you can't reason with some drunk guests sometimes, so. So yeah, guys, I've been to so many wedding receptions. I know, I've seen it all. This was one story that I wanted to tell. This was one that stuck in my mind. The Nikon D5, raised some hell here. Not only did the D5 take amazing pictures that day of the wedding, but it also was used the way it's not supposed to be used, guys. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know if something like this has ever happened while you're working a wedding. Maybe something that involves a photographer, maybe something that involves you. I would love to hear some of your stories, as a wedding photographer. Especially if you've been doing this for years, I know that you've seen your share of arguments, fights, blood, sweat. And did it cancel the party? Were you at fault? Did it change your life? Did you learn a lesson? Leave me a comment down below. Guys, it's hard to remember this day. I mean, it's hard to relive the moments. I remember it clearly. It's only, handful of years ago, but it's painful for me to even think about because I just want to block that night out. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on a future video. If you like stories like this, if you like photography, this is a photography channel. Sometimes I tell my stories on this channel. I have some stories to tell. More stories in the future. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. All right, guys. We'll catch you on a future video. This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. Go out there, have fun, make your money. Don't get into a fight. De-escalate. Because Vahagan, I've been through this. Your photographer on YouTube has been through a lot. So. All right, guys. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good evening. And rock and roll. Hey, what's good, guys? Vahagan here from Vahagraphy. If you like more photography, rockin' videos like this, go ahead and click on the videos on the screen and subscribe to Vahagraphy and rock and roll.